Hello, my name's Dan. You probably know me as Danny's. It's my IGN and my my forum page, Mineplex. Still, probably know what I've done for a little bit, trying to get back CS onto our network. It's been difficult, to say the least. Still, the thread, everything, has become so abundant, so much stuff. I think it's just easy to use my voice at this point. How often do you see that on the forum thread? The argument lasts for so long and so many new points are brought up and discussed that it's just easier to use your voice to talk. Not often, regardless. So many things we've done so far. So many different stuff, content, work. Hard to figure out where to start, really. Going off the top of my head, because you couldn't tell, prefer to improvise. It's easier. Got a bunch of arguments in here, regardless. What I want to talk about isn't just what we've done, content, or anything measurable in terms of data or quantity or time. Not necessarily time. Don't talk about our community. People we are, people we work with, everyone. It's so easy to characterize or categorize people who like CS into a small knit, into an easily pocket size, yay big object that can be put into a drawer, disregarded, ignored, straight up, well, disrespected, I dare say. It's really easy to forget that. Just because a game or a community isn't represented in its entirety on a network itself doesn't mean it's not there. That just because something was removed long ago doesn't mean there aren't still people there who care. It doesn't mean there isn't a community there. It doesn't mean that the people who are there, who you hear, are a small, minute quantity as easily ignorable as an ant or a breadcrumb. So many people forget. It's not just me here in our community. It's not just Element Uranium, PJ. It's not just Fusafez, Alex. It's not just Keikis or Blue Tie Baka, Nathan, Jack, respectively. It's not just Mohawk. It's not just a rare black bear. No. These are just people you see. Behind each of us, together, there are hundreds of people who care just as much as we do about what we're trying to do here. And it's so easy to forget that. Even for myself. I'm only human. Think I'm human. Could be alien. Hard to tell. Hands of blood's green. Regardless. It's just difficult. Over the past, I think it's 10 months now. I think I posted the thread in May. I was late to the party by a few months. So, not exact accurate representation of what we've been doing, how long it's been going on. Well, I'll say 10 months. Over the past 10 months, we've continued to fight an uphill battle against everyone. Everyone. People who don't care, people who argue that we're a small, loud, chaotic group of 10 people, and that it's risky to even consider what they have to say, at least at first. It's easy. Really easy. Really it is. Say something like that. But the truth is, right? The truth is, for the past 10 months we've been fighting an uphill battle against everyone. Even ourselves. especially ourselves. It's not easy to do something after everyone has told you the way you think isn't correct or isn't right or doesn't exist is the most accurate way for a neutral perspective on what I'm trying to say. It's easy to give in to that concept, to say, you're right, the game is dead, there is no community, no one's here, it's just us. No. 10 months we've been fighting against that. We've been fighting an uphill battle for 10 months, and we're winning. We are winning. Okay? There are so many other things, games and whatnot, that have had small surge people demand brought back and then just fades out. The spark never given fuel. It's really sad for a lot of the content. Some of it's really, well, original. Still, 10 months. Over the past 10 months, we've grown as a community, as intellectuals and numbers and everything. 10 months, the build team and the CSGI teams that I run with the people in them, together as a unit, more accurately as a collective intellect, a larger intelligence. We've dedicated thousands of hours into the content that we've pushed for this game that's often disregarded as being dead or categorized as being removed for a reason, that no one played it, that the game would die, that our movement would just die out after a few months, that the people, the quantity, the number of people who continue to argue this will just dissipate after X ends, after the pandemic ends, after the holidays end, whatever, after the summer break ends, when school starts back up. I'm in my college dorm, in case you can't tell, and this is very similar to what many people that I work with are in. They're not necessarily a dorm, but most certainly with equal amount of work and most certainly a lot of obligations outside of the game. Yet, here I am, right here, in front of you. The camera, a nice beard, cool headset. I don't know. I guess I look kind of nice. Still. What was I saying? The problem with going off your head, you lose track of what you're trying to say. Should have written a script, but did anyone get the raw emotion behind it? Well, 10 months, thousands of hours of content, the most amount of content for the game that has been created and pushed and made available to people, everyone, me, you, everyone, since 2017's update. I'd argue maybe a little bit more. And I think what really frustrates me the most about everything is that even after everything we continue to do, that people don't respect us. They don't care. Nay, they don't care if we don't care. They don't respect us. They continue to mock us, tell us our game's stupid, dead, it's boring, whatever. That no one plays it. And it's disrespectful. I mean, one of the many arguments I hear, many arguments I hear, is that the game would just die after a few months, that no one would play it, no one would join lobbies. Or that more recently, that after some period in the middle of the night, the lobbies are empty. Well, the thing about that is there's already so many games on the network that have that exact situation right now. It's not just an issue with one game or one community. The entire network has a shortage of people on there. People have left because they continue to believe nobody listens to what they want or demand or what they believe or what they care about. I know that's not true. That people on the ideas team, administrators, Sam himself, Mineplex's front-end Java developer, they care. But it's an uphill battle for them as well. And that's what many people don't remember. I mean, the network, comparing it to 2015 is laughable. We were getting 40,000 players in 2015. We're barely around 2,000 on a good day. The peak of an afternoon weekend. Weekend afternoon, whichever way you want to put it. They're fighting to keep the network alive more than anyone. But they don't. They're not all-knowing. No one is. It'd be absurd to believe that. The people running the network, they're not robots. They're not algorithms. They're human. Just like me. They make mistakes. They, well, make a lot of mistakes, as I do. They're not perfect. They're not all-knowing. They're not everywhere at once. And people forget that. People often argue that I'm going to leave because, I don't know, the administration doesn't care, developers don't care, the owners don't care, this, that, they don't care, the mods are toxic or whatever. They're human. That's what they are. They're human. And that's why I'm recording this instead of just typing it. So you can see me, not a screen, not an avatar, not something that's easily dismissible as a developed algorithm in some guy's basement in the 90s. No, as a human, flesh and blood. At least I think I'm human. I could be a demon. I don't know. Regardless, we're not asking for things to be magically conducted. No one is. No one is. We're arguing that our community behind the game and the game itself deserves the same level of respect that every other game on our network has. If you were to suggest to remove Mind Strike or Bridges or survival games or clans or domination, any of those hardcore games that have extremely specific gameplay styles that require you to play it to understand it, and to understand it to play it, you would get laughed out of town. The community, not just these communities, the network, the people that work here, that live here, that spend so much time of their lives just enjoying, would laugh you out of town and make you delete everything you own because of how absurd of a notion that is. Just because these lobbies are getting 0 players at 4 a.m. EST doesn't mean that there's no community behind it. Doesn't mean the people who work in those communities don't exist. I have worked with many of those GI teams on map testing, many of them, and I've only seen a small fraction of what it is they do. And they're spending thousands of hours towards the content and the game itself, not just playing it, but working with everyone, with the administration, with the development, with the overall community, acting as a branch between the two. Thousands of hours of their own lives, just as we are, just like us. All we're asking is that we get the same respect they do. That just because the game will have an empty lobby at God knows when, what time of the morning, for the crack of dawn even, doesn't mean the game's dead, doesn't mean there's no community, and it certainly doesn't mean that the people working with this game and the community and the creating of the content, and not just that, the further development of the content, taking something, having it played, getting the feedback, implementing that feedback, continuing on and on and on, just like every GI team does, just like every community does. Just because we don't have an NPC on a lobby doesn't mean none of that matters. It doesn't mean none of it exists. That's what this is at this point. We've proven to everyone beyond a shadow of a doubt that, well, there are people who care about this game. We've given you data, we've given you content, brand new content, not necessarily game changers because we don't have access to develop things because we're not developers or community members. But we have Sam who helped us very well. He helped us immeasurably in December. He got the game on network, even if only for 2 weeks. It was brought back as an advent, and I still remember seeing people in the lobby who had never even heard of the game state that they enjoyed it or state that they hated it and left. That's with every game. I don't like speed builders. First rate speed to no end. Doesn't mean the game's bad, just because I don't like it. Sorry, not my cup of tea, so what? And if all you Mineplex people, not necessarily the admins, but more so people who make decisions, maybe production, maybe just the general community mindset, if that is what you argue, that you don't enjoy the game and as such it shouldn't be here, that's not fair. And no, life isn't fair, but life can be justified. That's not justified. I don't enjoy Mindstrike or survival games or bridges or clans or domination. Doesn't mean they don't have a right to exist. Doesn't mean they don't have a right to be on the network, and it most certainly does not mean that there are not people just as passionate about each of those games as I am about CS, as the people I work with, represent, continue to work for are about CS. It doesn't mean what we do is any less. It doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to exist. It doesn't mean anything like that. Of course not. Of course not. Why would it? It'd be ridiculous. Ridiculous, no. And I'm not gonna lie. The game itself is very different from everything. Just like Mindstrike is different from everything. Just like domination games, clans, CTF are different from everything. It's like, well, SSM is different from everything. There's a newsflash. Different doesn't mean bad. It should be common sense, but when applying it out of context, it just isn't anymore. I don't understand how any of the kids work in SSM. I don't play it because I don't enjoy it. That's just me. Doesn't mean the game is dead. It doesn't mean the community doesn't exist, and it most certainly does not mean that people working for that game do not spend just as many thousands of hours working to improve the game to the best of their abilities. And it's insulting to discredit us that way. Just because we don't have an NPC, just because the game was removed in 2018. It's insulting. It's disrespectful. And if this comes down to an argument of morale, which it has, we got it. Alright? I can count 500 people on our Discord. 500 people on our Discord for a game that's removed for the advertising of that Discord to be done through third-party mediums that can never, ever intersect with Mineplex, because the people who do will get muted immediately for spamming or whatever. Malicious links, I don't know. Malicious content. The guy was banned immediately on a Sev 4 in June for having the invite link in my signature. So that's the extremity, the extremity, is that even a word? The extent that keeping these two things separate has to go to. Of course, everything we do is an uphill battle, but again, here's the thing. We're winning. We are winning for the first time in 2 years, almost 3 years now. I can say I don't know the fate of the game. I don't know if it's going to stay in MPS. I don't know if it's ever going to not come back. I genuinely don't know. A year ago, I would have laughed at you, said Mineplex should never bring it back. Yet here we are. I don't stand alone. None of us do. We're a community. And we care about the game. We really do. And if this is an argument of disrespect versus respect, give us the respect we deserve. Bring the game back. I'm running out of tricks here. We've got, I don't even know how many new maps that are live. We've got a new map that's going to be live with the community update. Moon Tower, really beautiful CS map. The architecture was not done by our team directly. It was done by one of our builders who gave us the world file before they were accepted. Really clever individual. That was back in July. The map's been being worked on since July. I think that's when the first application was written. There's more CS maps in process. Our GI team is discussing potential fixes in the document that we're going to send to Sam once we finalize everything, which it's going to take time to do. Of course, it's going to take time to do. We don't generate new changes that completely change the game itself in more than one way overnight. Of course not. I can assure you the people I work with are more than competent and are at least 10 times more passionate about this game than I am in many different ways. And that's all we want. Respect. Respect us. Acknowledge us. Listen to us. Because we're not going anywhere. When I post, and I will post it, the 1-year creation anniversary of the thread that I drafted, mostly off the top of my head and mostly off of the high of being able to play a decent sized lobby of the game that I hadn't played in for many years back in last May. I winged it and it was originally unprofessional, but I've edited it. It's a weird word. A bit to get rid of more emotionally charged arguments. But when I write that 1-year anniversary post on the thread, and we'll still be here. We'll still be here. We're not going anywhere. 2 years didn't stop us. What makes you think one more won't kill us? Or will kill us? What makes you think one more will kill us? Because it won't. It will not kill us. We can wait. But eventually, you're going to have to acknowledge us. Because it's what we deserve. It's basic respect. That's all it is. And I'm insulted that I have to ask that from anyone, let alone people in charge of the network, let alone the GI teams that continue to make fun of our game in the GI Discord, discredit us. Not a lot to say right now. Just give us back to the game. That's all. It's not a risky investment, not anymore. Most certainly not now. That's it. That's all I have to say. Have a safe day, morning, night, evening, whatever. Have a safe period of day.